Apple has cut the revenue forecast for its latest quarter, citing fewer iPhone upgrades and also weak sales in China, and its shares have tumbled in after-hours trade. Now, the company forecast $84 billion in terms of revenue for its fiscal first quarter ending December 29, which is well below the analyst estimate of almost about $91.5 billion. Now, Apple originally had forecast revenue of anywhere between $89 billion to $93 billion. And Apple has also warned investors about its growth in the most recent quarter, citing weaker sales in China. US President Donald Trump has cautioned fellow Republican Mitt Romney to be a team player after the former presidential candidate and incoming US Senator sharply criticized the president's actions and also questioned his character. In a Washington Post article, Romney suggested that the US leader had actually caused dismay around the world and said that his presidency had made a deep descent in the month of December in America. Trump had fired back in a tweet taking aim at Romney's failed 2012 White House bid. Now, US President Donald Trump has said that he's received a letter from Kim Jong-un and is expected to meet with the North Korean leader soon as a part of his administration's ongoing efforts to press Pyongyang to give up its nuclear weapons program. Now, Trump has defended his negotiations with Kim and has said that he had never emphasized the speed of Pyongyang's efforts. Now, Kim had vowed to work towards denuclearization after he met with Trump at a summit in Singapore in June, although both sides have in fact struggled to make progress since then. However, on Tuesday, Kim said in a nationally televised address that he was in fact ready to meet with Donald Trump again anytime, but warned that he may take a new path if US sanctions and pressure against the country were to continue. Speaking on trade war with China, US President Donald Trump has said that the trade negotiations with China are coming along really well. Now, currently, the United States and China are about 1 month into the 90-day hiatus in implementing tariffs and taking other measures in a trade war that has dominated much of 2018 as they work on hammering out a possible potential deal. Now, Trump has also played down the stock market's drop at the end of 2018, calling it nothing more than a glitch, and saying that the market will of course go up once various trade deals have been settled. Donald Trump also brought up India's aid to Afghanistan during a press conference at a cabinet meeting as he defended his push for the United States to invest less in wars overseas. While he said that he gets along really well with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he mentioned that the library that was being funded by India in Afghanistan is actually of no use. The United States has of course been egging India to play a more active role in Afghanistan. And now this essentially means that playing by America's rules in the great game in the country. But India of course has maintained an independent line and has remained engaged in Afghanistan. Now, India has diplomatic missions in no less than 6 cities in Afghanistan, which is perhaps one of the largest in any country. New Delhi is also spending millions of dollars in the Afghan reconstruction program. US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that the United States is deeply concerned about an increase in cocoa cultivation in Colombia, but will work with the country to cut production of the raw material for cocaine by half by the end of the year 2023. Pompeo met with Colombian President Iván Duque on a brief visit to the city of Cartagena in Colombia, and this of course has long been ranked as the world's top producer of cocaine, for which cocoa is the base ingredient. Now, the government wants to eradicate no less than 100,000 hectares of coca crops. In 2019, Duque had said that 2018 eradication would total more than 80,000 hectares in terms of illicit crops. The death toll from landslides and floods in central Philippines triggered by a tropical depression has climbed to almost about 85. The tropical depression brought heavy rains that have triggered landslides and also flooding in the Bicol and eastern Visayas region. Almost about 20 tropical cyclones have hit the Philippines every year, with destroyed crops and infrastructure taking a toll on human lives and also weighing down one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. Now, 6 people were killed after debris apparently from a cargo train smashed into a passenger train in high winds on a bridge connecting 2 islands in Denmark. Now, the passenger train appeared to have struck an empty truck trailer that had blown off a cargo train travelling in the opposite direction as strong winds lashed the region. Now, 16 other passengers were also hurt in the accident, but the police have said that no one had life-threatening injuries. Almost about 50 minstrel troops and thousands of spectators took to the streets of Cape Town to celebrate the annual 2nd January Street Parade. The parade is an age-old tradition in Cape Town and dates back to the slavery era, when slaves were allowed to celebrate New Year's Day on the 2nd of January. The spectators camp in the street for almost up to 5 days for the best viewing spot. Now, Cyprus's residents and tourists visiting Ireland's North Shore kicked off the new year by seeing a spectacular waterspout tear across the seacoast near the Kyrenia city. The unusual water column formed over cliffs and moved across the sea, and waterspouts are tornadoes that in fact occur over a body of water but never reach land. Waterspouts were not common in Cyprus until recent weather with choppy seas and high winds caused them to form. The Indian government has confirmed that Pakistan-based terror groups are in fact getting trained for underwater strike capabilities. The Indian government has also confirmed that Pakistan-based terror groups are getting trained for the underwater strike capabilities, and they are in fact on a mission to infiltrate into India by sea or waterways. The Rafale debate is all set to resume today in the Indian Parliament, and Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who did not take part in the debate yesterday, is expected to perhaps lead the government's charge on the matter. Now, following a heated argument that unfolded in the Parliament over the controversial deal, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman took a jibe at Congress President Rahul Gandhi for posing a list of specific and categorical questions to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Twitter over the Rafale deal. Now, in response, Nirmala Sitharaman, instead of responding to the questions, called Rahul Gandhi a student who had failed in the classroom, hinting at the Congress president's silence after Arun Jaitley retaliated to his allegations in the Parliament on Wednesday, and instead said that he was boasting about the challenges from outside the classroom. The protests turned violent across the Indian state of Kerala after 2 women defied a centuries-old ban and then entered into the Sabrimala temple in the state of Kerala. Protesters in Kochi set an effigy of Kerala State Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan on fire, claiming that he in fact was at fault for encouraging women and girls to visit the Sabrimala hill shrine. Protesters also clashed with the police, and some were later detained. India's Supreme Court in the month of September had ordered the authorities to lift the ban on women and girls in their menstruating age, that is anywhere between 10 to 50 years, from entering the temple, which of course draws millions of worshippers every year. However, the temple has refused to abide by the court ruling, and subsequent attempts by women to visit it have also been blocked by thousands of devotees who support the ban. The Indian government has said that they will start receiving the information on Indian account holders in Swiss banks from this year. Now, India's Minister of State for External Affairs, V.K. Singh, has said that the information may include details about people allegedly involved in corruption. Now, Singh has also said that India-Switzerland tax treaty facilitates the receipt of information. This is in fact on the basis of requests that have been made by the Narendra Modi government and mostly involves peoples or entities who are currently under investigation for stashing black money abroad. Now, VK Singh was in fact replying to a question in the Indian Parliament.